Why does God allow suffering? The purpose for suffering in this world may be to teach us the value of the things that we have. It's impossible to fully understand the value of sight until one experiences blindness. It's impossible to fully understand the value of wealth until one experiences poverty. It's impossible to fully understand the value of food until one experiences hunger, or water until one experiences thirst. It's impossible to fully understand the value of health until one experiences disease, or peace until one experiences war. It's impossible to fully understand the value of wisdom until one experiences foolishness, or knowledge until one experiences ignorance. It's impossible to fully understand the value of friendship until one experiences loneliness, or love until one experiences hatred. It's impossible to fully understand the value of a son or daughter until one loses a child, or a parent until one loses a father or mother. It's impossible to fully understand the value of the truth until one experiences lies. And last but certainly not least, it's impossible to fully understand the value of life until one experiences death, the absence of life. It could be that the purpose of this world is to teach us the value of the things that we have. All children inevitably reach a point where they take things for granted, believing that they're entitled to the things that they have. A good parent will sometimes take away those possessions to teach the value of the child's property. Everything that a child has is a gift from his parents, and everything that we have is a gift from God. We're not entitled to anything. Sometimes I find myself wondering why God allows suffering. I even sense judgment rising in me. But when I have these feelings, I always try to remember two things that I can't escape. One, that there's a Creator. And two, that He created the eye. If God created the eye, then can He not see beyond what we can see? Can He not perceive beyond what we can understand? Jesus was whipped and beaten. Was that a good thing for Jesus to be whipped and beaten? Were those good things? Jesus was mocked as He carried the cross, and He was nailed to it. Were those good things? Was that good for Jesus to be mocked and nailed to the cross? He was stabbed in the side with a spear, and His mother watched Him suffer and die. Was that good for a mother to watch her son suffer and die? Was that good? These are all very bad things. But despite the fact that these are all bad things, they work together for good, because millions were saved when they saw the love of God on the cross. It could be that the suffering of this world works together for good for those who seek the Lord. Now, some might say that despite all this, it's still wrong for God to allow suffering. But what is this life compared to eternity? And remember, death is no sufficient enemy for God. He has the ability to resurrect from the dead. This is why the Bible says without faith it's impossible to please Him. Most people will curse God for the things that they lose in this life. But without Him, they would not have had those things in the first place. Without God, the blood would not be pumping in their veins. Without God, the millions of chemical reactions that we depend on for our lives would cease, and in an instant we would all die. Man tends to think that he's powerful, but what if all the oxygen in the air quickly disappeared? In 5 minutes, every man, woman, and child on earth would be dead. We're not as powerful as we think. We're nothing compared to God. Who are we to judge Him? And remember God's promise, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son." This verse tells us that there are things in this life to overcome. Christians often preach that tribulation is coming. No, tribulation is now. What is happening to us in our everyday lives, that is the tribulation. The test is now. The Bible tells us that Rehoboam was a wicked man, for he did not prepare his heart for the Lord. But there's a great assumption in this verse that we are supposed to prepare our hearts for the Lord. There are things that we must do to preserve our lives. If we don't prepare our hearts for the Lord, then we'll be easily deceived and corrupted. If you're looking for the truth, you will find it. He who loves the truth more than the things of this world will find the truth, and all the things of this world will be given to him. But he that loves the things of this world more than the truth, all those things will be taken from him, along with his own life. Let me give you a piece of advice. Don't be a fool. Put God first, and all those things that you desperately seek after will be added to you. He that overcometh shall inherit all things. How many things? All things. To love this world more than God is foolishness, because all things proceed from him and are given to us by him, and should not be taken for granted. This is why Paul told us to be thankful for everything, always.